What's up, Eagles Nation, and welcome to a new series, The Scouting Spotlight, featuring Eagles nose tackle Javon Hargrave. We'll be going through highlights and lowlights of all 16 games from 2019, when Hargrave emerged from the Steel City shadow of Stephon Tuitt and Cam Hayward. We'll be breaking down Hargrave's strengths and weaknesses from that breakout season, discussing how he'll fit in the Eagles' aggressive scheme. We'll take a look back on the regression of the defensive line despite constant investment, including first-round picks in Derek Barnett, a third in Jannard Avery, and free agent acquisitions Timmy Jernigan and Malik Jackson. Roseman might not be a clone of his mentors, Joe Banner or Andy Reid, but the similarities are striking. Prioritise heavy investment in the defensive line, particularly right up the middle at tackle. Under the previous pair, the Eagles spent first-round picks on Corey Simon, Broderick Bunkley, Mike Patterson. They spent their first pick in the 2008 draft on Trevor Laws, and also sent a huge 6-year deal to Darren Howard in free agency. If not for Dan Snyder's ludicrous approach to football management, Albert Haynesworth could well have been added to that list when he first entered free agency in 2009.
First ever $100 million defensive player in the history of the NFL.
You're not going to remember Albert Haynesworth as a bust. You're going to remember him as a great player.
Well, the longest conditioning test in NFL history has now reached day 5. It's the third time Haynesworth has failed the test.
He's only out there for about 10 minutes. Talking to our trainer, he said he was dehydrated and was heat related.
Are they picking on you, Albert?
Even if he could batter Big Red in a barbecue eating contest. Unsurprisingly, the Eagles front office opted against handing out $100 million total, a decade before it even started to become the norm for elite quarterbacks. Reports from Roseman rose to power in 2012 strongly suggested Jim Washburn was desperate to add the league's most disruptive interior defender, and Roseman's history was almost written before it had started. Instead, the Eagles opted for an athletic SEC prospect from Mississippi State. That pick turned out to be Fletcher Cox. The discrepancy between the trajectories of the two players from that point could not have been more stark. But enough about history. The present presses on remorselessly, regardless of activity slowing to a near standstill around us. The NFL machine grinds on, and Jim Schwartz is hoping Hargrave is exactly the gear to get his engine back up and humming. It wasn't just the secondary that underperformed in 2019. Injuries to Malik Jackson and Timmy Jernigan, coupled with Derek Barnett's slow progression, crippled pass rush production. Hargrave is particularly well suited to address that problem. Seems odd considering he primarily contributed from nose tackle in the Steelers' base package, coming off the field in many pass rushing situations. Injury to Stephon Tuitt, however, gave Hargrave a chance to grab the bull by the horns. Or perhaps it gave him a chance to be the bull with the horns, considering his impact as a power rusher out of the Steelers' nickel. It's hard to overstate the value of a pair of tackles who can collapse the pocket, rather than just one. Not just because it allows Cox to see more single blocks either. The emergence of a special athletic breed at quarterback, Lamar Jackson, Pat Mahomes, Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson, players who take multiple defenders to bring down, need to be collapsed from every angle. It wasn't just one play either. Hargrave consistently realigned blockers into the backfield in his breakout campaign. Unlike other highly paid nose tackles around the league, Hargrave is also more than just a power rusher. His agility made him hugely appealing to scouting staff in 2016, with reports the Eagles were deliberating between Hargrave and Isaac Seumalo for their third-round selection that year. Somehow Roseman always gets his man. On this occasion it just came 3 years down the line. The athleticism on film in some of his pass rush sequences is stunning. His variety of moves, combined with an ability to convert speed to power, can't help but impress. If there is one game that surely sold the scouting staff on rubber stamping Hargrave's signing, it was the game against the Rams. Finally seeing the field in the nickel 3 weeks post Tuitt's season-ending injury, Hargrave carved apart a Rams offensive line. He made a huge impact in crucial game situations at the end of the half and in closing moments of regulation time, helping Pittsburgh eat out a low-scoring affair 17-12. He ran with speed and power, coming alive to decisively swing success toward the Steelers. There are countless other examples of Hargrave's impact in the passing game, illustrating his suitability to a franchise that prioritises pocket pushers over almost any other position. We've said little regarding his contribution as a run defender, however. Hargrave certainly has the potential and attributes to impact run games consistently. There are a couple of examples from last season of a true game-changing, one-gap, penetrating defensive tackle emerging. Stick on his highlights and there are certainly some special run stops sprinkled in. They're more of a dusting though, than a main ingredient to this particular recipe. Sadly, there are also concerns, a bitterness to this batch. Injuries didn't help up front, but the departures of Malcolm Jenkins and Nigel Bradham are likely to put pressure on a strained front seven. The run defence creaked a little at times a season ago, and while Hargrave has shown flashes, the vast majority of his snaps don't provide a ton of credence to the notion he'll dramatically upgrade the run defence. He seems to struggle against more powerful offensive linemen, showing poorly in games against the aggressive, downhill runs of the Bills and Ravens. Evident on film was a particular difficulty anchoring against double teams. Nowhere was that more obvious than down at the goal line and in short yardage situations, where Hargrave was blown off the ball consistently. Nose tackles should thrive in the physicality of that environment, yet Hargrave wilted. His problems aren't purely physical. Mental mistakes and poor instincts cost him at times too. Hargrave appears to lack a natural feel or perhaps the necessary experience to quickly diagnose run plays to maintain gap discipline. Together, that's a toxic combination for interior defensive linemen in the NFC East. Overall though, the commitment to investing in young, ascending pass rushers is hard to fault. Hargrave's potential makes the relatively modest free agency investment appear a gamble worth paying. His 3-year, $39 million deal, with $26 million guaranteed, is just a little over the money made by more limited nose tackles, like Duran Reed in Seattle or Eddie Goldman in Chicago. The guarantees feel a little steep, but do compare favourably to DJ Reader's deal with the Bengals, for example. A more limited player took home $20 million guaranteed this offseason. Hargrave's age, talent, scheme suitability, and contract value make him a positive addition to the Eagles' 2020 offseason. Thanks for watching, that's Eagles Link out.